This is a story that annoyed me and will annoy you as well. Hundreds of pro-Palestine protesters took over one of Britain's largest shopping centres in London yesterday on Boxing Day, where a massive Palestine flag was hung and protesters clashed with security guards. Here's the moment it happened. Have a look. Now, that flag was huge. I know this shopping trip. It's one of the Westfield shopping centres. There's two of them in London. There's one in East London and in Stratford, and that's this one. And there's one in West London. And it's a hugely busy day. It's a busy shopping centre, and it is. And obviously, this was Boxing Day. And there were, I'm not quite sure how many, but they unfurled this huge flag. I mean, literally, like, from the atrium of the shopping centre down 3 floors. And they were harassing people with the megaphone. And when these poor security guards, I feel sorry for them, were trying to wrestle this flag off the protesters. They were getting abused and pushed and shoved, and they're not paid enough for that. Didn't see many police officers there, to be fair, but they were abusing people. They were abusing a young Muslim girl who happened to be working in a coffee shop, saying that she supported Zionism and she was in support of killing babies, etc. She was a little Muslim girl. She was doing her job. Stop it. OK, they've also seen... Yeah, oh, actually, we've got some footage of that, actually. The scenes at the Starbucks in the shopping centre. Yeah, have a look at this one.
Every time you buy a coffee, you are funding a bullet that is killing a Palestinian kid. If you are a Muslim buying Starbucks, shame on you, and Allah is coming for you.
Now, these were just ordinary families doing their Boxing Day shopping. As I said, there was a young Muslim girl working in that shop who was absolutely, well, abused. I mean, I don't know how she got... And lots of families, Jewish families, went home, obviously, as they would do. It was shocking scenes. No arrests, as far as we're aware, and Palestine Action are a prescribed terror group as well. No arrests.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind. The more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Joining me now is a security specialist, Henry Bolton. Henry, good to see you, and happy whatever day it is. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. Henry, these are really frightening scenes. I mean, that was a planned protest, one of the busiest shopping days, lots of families there, out sort of like, you know, just trying to get on with their lives, to be harassed about Palestine, Gaza, and you know, the usual. What do you make of it?
Well, Dawn, I mean, you can't decouple this from the hunger strikers, the 8 hunger strikers who were arrested. A court decided to remand them. That was not a political decision. It was a decision of the court based on whether or not individuals were likely to reoffend, cause harm to the public, cause harm to themselves, or abscond. So the court decided to remand them in prison until their hearing. They've decided to go on strike. OK, that, you know, this for political reasons, as a political statement. This, if we want to, and this applies to both the hunger strikes and what we saw yesterday in the Westfield shopping centre. What these are a political attempt at coercion against the court decision. It's a political attempt to coerce a legal court. And if one acquiesces to that or appeases that or allows some sort of compromise on that, you are then starting to politicize the judicial process, something that you and I think 99.9% of the British population would oppose. And we have been vocal about any idea, any sniff that the courts are being politicised in the past. So it's a principle that we must uphold. It's a legal decision, not a political decision, but political means are being used by these protesters to try and change that decision. What we saw yesterday was effectively intimidation of the public in order to try and coerce the courts into making a decision to release these people on bail. That is unacceptable, and no society that upholds the rule of law can allow that sort of that coercion of the legal system. So there's that element of it. The other thing is that these people are, I think, comprised of two elements, and they work together. There's the left-wing ideologues who fundamentally oppose the West and are incredibly, I think, privileged, naive people. And then you have the extremists, the fundamentalists, the Muslim in this case, fundamentalists, and they both work hand in glove because they're united in a common cause, which is to undermine the establishment here in the UK. One politically, and the other one religiously. And I think those two things are a very dangerous mix. And yesterday we saw, as you said quite rightly, families going around their sort of Christmas time, sort of post-Christmas shopping and relaxation, minding their own business, going about their innocent business, and then they're being intimidated like this. We cannot allow that to take root. It's absolutely unacceptable on every level: political, legal, social, and moral.
But Henry, why did we allow this? I mean, as I said, the security guards at this particular shopping centre, and there's not that many of them, and it would have been bewildering. There were quite a few protesters there. We don't know. We haven't heard of any arrests. We've asked for comment. We haven't heard of any. I just want to say, if that was, say, for example, a Tommy Robinson rally, and they'd unfurled a giant Union flag down there, I sort of get the impression there would have been a lot more action, a lot faster.
I think so too, and it's a reality that even if it's not officially recognised, we are all, I think, on all sides of this debate, well aware that politicians and the police are terrified of stirring up Muslim sentiment in the United Kingdom, of provoking that and creating a sort of right-wing backlash to that and so on. What they fail to recognise is that this constant appeasement of these Palestine Action protesters and this sort of Islamification of political protest is actually creating the very thing, the very tension that they want to avoid. And I think that there are differences that have to be recognised. First of all, the Westfield Shopping Centre is under private commercial ownership and management. It is not a public space as such, like Trafalgar Square or whatever. There is not a requirement to notify of a protest. Tommy Robinson and other groups generally do provide that notification to police in such open spaces, if you like, and they are sort of asked to comply with various sort of restrictive measures sometimes. This is a different case. Was there or was there not intelligence that this was going to occur? I don't know the answer to that. If there was, why were police not surging the area in case of public disorder? As for the security guards, I actually think, Dawn, whether it's shoplifting or this sort of thing, or even evacuating a place like the Westfield Shopping Centre in the event of a fire or some such thing, entirely non-political or non-protest related, our security guards in this country are not empowered sufficiently well. If we want to be a nation that allows some public safety and security functions to be outsourced to security companies because we're not investing in our policing to the right extent, or then we have to empower our security guards and security personnel appropriately to manage those situations. I don't believe we do.
No, absolutely. And we certainly don't probably give that job enough respect as well. It's a very tough job.
Correct.
And often underpaid. Henry, thank you very much. That's security specialist Henry Bolton there for me. I'd also like to add that this shopping centre is right near I'm a West Ham fan, obviously, right near West Ham's ground, and West Ham are playing Fulham today, and there'll be thousands of football fans walking through that shopping centre to get to the ground. Now, West Ham aren't allowed to play home games on Boxing Day for fear it might upset what people shopping on a Boxing Day. So that makes sense. OK, this went ahead, but West Ham aren't allowed to play home games on a Boxing Day for the safety of shoppers shopping in Westfield. In any case, let's talk now to former detective, Chief Superintendent for the Met Police, Kevin Hurley. Kevin, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. I mean, I find those scenes quite upsetting. There were young families. It was just ordinary people going about their business on Boxing Day. What do you make of that?
Yeah, absolutely infuriating, as any reasonable member of the public would think. As Henry Bolton's just said, you've got two groups there, Islamist extremists and Socialist Worker Party type left-wingers all joining together to create this fuss. Bottom line, though, nothing anyone could have done about that because, of course, unplanned, knew about it. On a Boxing Day in the police, because people are paid double time, they cut policing numbers to an absolute shoestring and barely have enough for response function. So that area of London, even without that, the response units would have already been overwhelmed with 999 calls, stacking up, maybe 20, 30 waiting to be heard, but people being beaten up by husbands, robbed, etc. So there's no police response realistically that could deal with that kind of a crowd, even though the criminal offences are difficult in that, as Henry points out, private property, you may get some public order offences there. And equally, of course, there's trespass if they're called upon by the management to help evict. But the issue is quite simply, there isn't enough police. And even if there were enough police and they started to make arrests, because they run policing on a shoestring at weekends, on bank holidays, because the Met Police are broke from years of underfunding, most of the custody centres, or a good number of the custody centres where prisoners would have been taken, will be shut. So, quite frankly, they picked a good day, they picked a perfect spot. They probably didn't know that the police couldn't respond like that. But the fact is, there are not masses of public order police in a box at any time in the UK, and certainly not on a bank holiday where they cost a lot more to employ.
Yeah.
Bottom line, it's an example of how in our society, for various reasons, we are allowing the mob to start to dictate our way of life.
Yeah.
And, it wouldn't necessarily have helped there, but I think there's a case for upgrading the equipment that police have for dealing with order in terms of large-scale pepper sprays, water cannon, and so on. So we don't have this ridiculous situation where with 4 and 5 people trying to arrest one person, and then you've got no police officers left very quickly. I mean,
Indeed.
they've exposed a weakness in our response, and their own response to this.
OK, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. That's former Detective Chief Superintendent for the Met, Kevin Hurley. Now, GB News has contacted Westfield for comment, but they are yet to get back to us. What I would like to do, though, is for you to get back to me. Let me know what you think about that story. If you'd have been out and about yesterday trying to do your shopping, how would you have felt, especially if you had kids with you?